So you're launching to the same audience, and you probably have launched quite a bit in the past few years or so, in the past few months, and you are wondering why you are not getting sales. Girl, the thing that you are experiencing is what we call the audience exhaustion. Audience exhaustion is when you'll keep on launching the same offer to the same people. They just know already what you are offering. And one of the rookie mistakes that people do is to create more offers to launch to the same audience instead of increasing the size of the current audience, creating a lead generation system so that the leads can come in between launches. So let us talk about that today and how we can actually solve that. So audience exhaustion is actually very common to a lot of people. It's also very common for my students because what people do is that they sell online courses to their current following, and they're trying their best to create content in that very platform, whether that's going to be on Instagram or on Facebook page or in their own, Facebook personal account. I just put exhaustions. Going back, it's very common. One of the reasons why that is because people just don't understand that you actually need to have a consistent lead flow in your business, regardless what kind of business you are, most especially if you are online. If you are an online education business, you have to have a lead generation system going. So that's one of the things that you would want to use, or you would want to have as a solution, is that there should be a lead generation system, because this is basically the fuel of your online education business, and you can't not have this. Like, you cannot not have this. That's what I'm trying to say without the apostrophe on the O. And we can't just also consistently rely on one source of traffic. So you're probably thinking, okay, I'm just going to, continuously create content and reels so that I can get people into my ecosystem, which is a good thing. But you can't expect yourself to be viral, right? It's not easy nowadays because everyone seems to be a creator. So you have to have a backup plan. In lead gen, this is the first thing that people rely on is organic marketing. So this is where social media comes in, right? SMM. And this is also where my previous students in the freelancing world also makes a lot of money, because people always resort to social media for their source of traffic, which is great. But there are also other sources of traffic, right? That doesn't involve you having to burn yourself out creating content, dancing on TikTok, just so you can get traffic coming into your ecosystem. So my favorite one is, of course, paid ads, right? And then in the paid ads, you have IG as an option, Instagram, and then you also have Facebook as an option. So you can run ads to these places. You can also run ads on TikTok. But just the thing with TikTok is that creative exhaustion is also common. So because the algorithm on TikTok works very, very fast, that you have to always have a new creative almost every single time. So this one, this thing, and this thing is almost the same, just run by a different monster. Like, that's what it is. Okay, so this is why I like running paid ads, because I can refresh my ads, say, 2 times in a week or 2 times in a month. It really depends on the data that I am collecting from my Facebook ads, which is great. And then another one that you can also do is YouTube. This one I am not a master of. We were able to run YouTube ads back in the day, but that was when I was still with one of my partners in the business, who also happens to be my ex. Yeah, he was the one running the YouTube content, and I didn't really get into this because I'm thinking to myself, right, and until to this day I'm still thinking, okay, I'm going to have to master Facebook ads first before I'm trying to expand on anything. It's just that, yeah, Facebook ads is the one that I'm very comfortable with as of the moment. I haven't really looked into YouTube yet, but I think that's a really good idea also. So let's go back to organic marketing. So aside from the SMM, you also would, or social media, you'd also want to consider SEO. Okay, so let's remove this very arrow because that was just for emphasis. So SEO can come in many forms. It could be via Google. It could also be via YouTube. It could also be via Pinterest. And believe it or not, SEO paid ads or pay per click or PPC is also over here. So you have paid ads, and then another branch would be like paid, or let's just put PPC. That's when you do what you do with search engines, right? So with a very lead gen system or lead gen platform, you would want to pick one or two. My two favorites is YouTube, which is the video that you are watching, and having a paid ads to go along with it. So I'm sort of like spreading my wings in two different avenues. So one, I have an organic marketing platform, and then I also have a paid ads platform. And that is because I don't want to rely on just creating content just to get leads or prospects. So that's something that you would want to do, is like, don't put all your eggs in one basket, and don't just I also know a lot of people that are super confident with just Facebook ads, and I mean, yeah, Facebook ads are my favorite, but you also want to have a backup plan, because your Facebook ads account can also get shut down, your meta ads, like, it's very unpredictable. So always have those two things in mind, right? So now, whichever platform you're going to choose, you have to consistently include this in your schedule. Make sure that the ads are being refreshed every 2 weeks, every week, or make sure that you are consistently being visible in a social media dynamic. Now, with that lead gen, if you are already doing launches, or when exactly are you going to turn the lead generation system on? I would say in between launches. I'd always tell my students that in a launch calendar, you should have at the very least 4 weeks. So 4 weeks where you can shut that lead generation system off, because at this time you are not anymore collecting leads. You are promoting them into your online course or upcoming online course. So this is how that would look like. So let's just say you have January up to December, and then you have June here. Let's say that is your calendar year. Now, if you're going to say you will be launching on June, I'm going to change colors, change hue, not color. So from January 1st up until, let's say your launch day is June 15, say June 15. Now, you will be running ads or continuously getting leads from January 1st to June 14, and that is non-stop. If there is a point where you're going to be stopping, it should only be in this very area, right? And if there are 4 weeks or exactly 1 month for your launch period, the next time you're going to be running ads for your lead gen, or for your lead gen to turn on, is at June 15 or 16. So your lead gen again is on over here, and then you're going to keep it running until December, and even until then, unless you have a scheduled launch on December whatever, right? You keep that going and you don't stop having that lead generation system. And the reason for that is you have to always have leads. Okay. And those leads are the ones that you're going to be launching to when the launch time actually comes. That is just one solution. I'm actually trying to get my cheat codes or my notes for this very video recording session, because I can't always remember everything. That's why you jot down things, girl. Okay, so going to the next topic, aside from having a lead generation going bazooka in the rest of the year, unless you are doing a 4 week launch or unless during your launch era, the next thing that you're going to want to have is a different lead in every launch. So in launches, people use different types. The most common thing that is being used when launching something are webinars. And then you also have video series training. I'm going to explain each one later. And then we have challenges. And then we also have quizzes. What else have I tried? Just short video and then social media hyping. That's the last one. That's hyping, you guys. Okay. So, first thing are webinars. Very common, also very effective when done right. I'm not saying that you should all have webinars because what I have seen in my feed, everyone's doing freaking webinars, which is great, but you have to have a different lead in every single time. So let's say you have 2 different schedules of launch in a year, let's say June and then December. Now in June, you have done a webinar. When you're going to launch again in December, you bet your ass you're not going to do another webinar. Okay. So try to mix and match different things. You can do challenges, you can do short videos, you can do social media hypes, right? So I'm going to explain each one. So you have to have a different lead in every single time you're going to launch. Now, I understand how people sometimes say, like, hey, webinars are working the best for me. What makes you say that I shouldn't be repeating that very method? I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm saying that have different options, right? I'm pretty sure that when you are launching, you're actually experimenting different types of lead-ins or hypes, right? So you're probably doing webinars, you probably have tried challenges before, video series training, just to try to see what actually works. And then when something hits, then that's the time that you double down, you refine, you tweak. But maybe you should also try the other things, right? Just so you would have an experience. Because as long as you're not being bankrupt, like you have the financial capacity to be able to test different types of lead-ins, like I did, right? So I was able to test like different types of lead-ins, and then I found that video trainings, short video trainings and webinars work really well for me because I guess videos are my cup of tea. That's what it is. But anyway, webinars are super effective, and I don't see why it's not gonna be unless you have written your webinar in a way where it's not effective and you just don't know how to create a webinar format, which we can also talk about in the next video, just so you can dial this down. But I would want for you to mix and match it because your audience who might be watching a long form webinar, they're also audiences, they're not okay with that. They don't want to watch 90 minutes of a whole damn thing of you talking, right? So you want to make sure that you have other avenues of being able to promote your course. So I love webinars. Now, video series training, like what I mentioned previously, there was a time there was a time when that was actually very effective. I don't know why it's not effective now, but I haven't tried a video series training in a while because I guess I'm just not really good at it. Let's just say it as it is. Like I guess I'm not able to hook them so much in the first video that the attendance on the second video really goes down. And an average person that is not a master of marketing is like that. So if you have like a video series training and you have video 1, video 2, and video 3, and the video 3 is your pitch, it the video 1 is actually more of like an introduction, right? And then teasing the next 2 days. So that's great. But then it's very rare. So if you have like 100% show up rate here, there's a high chance that you would get a 50% show up here, and then you only have 25% show up here, which also, if this 25% of people, if they are not freebie seekers because you made your video training for free, they're actually very high intent people already. Like they are definitely interested in what you have to say. They listen to you, and so it's very easy to pitch to them because you already have their attention, which is great. But Then the challenge also is, of course, getting a lot of people to register on the whole video series training and get their energy up on video one so that they would finish the video three, unless you're going to make it paid. So that's just another option. Challenges, what I tell my students is that never go beyond 7 days. So keep it less than 7 days. And the sweet spot that I have found for my audience, I'm not sure if it's going to be the same thing for you, but people love a 3 day challenge. Like, to them, it's very easy. And the reason why it's more appealing than a video series is because it's more interactive, right? You get to talk to them, you get to somehow check their work, you get to give them real time feedback. And 7 days is just way too long. I love a 3 day challenge, and oftentimes I actually make it paid. Really depends on how you want to go for it. If you have a lead gen system already going from January 1 to June 14, that's a lot of people that you can do a challenge with, and you can actually sell the entry to your lead-ins over here because you have already these things going on, right? So I don't see why not. And then quizzes are fine. Quizzes are actually more for repelling the people that you don't want to serve. Like, for example, with me, there are specific people that I don't want to serve. Like, for example, I don't want to serve people who are just starting out in the online course world. Like, that to me is a little bit difficult because then I would have to like explain to you what online courses are, what's the back end, etc. All these kind of things. It's like something that I don't want to spend a lot of time on. All right, so quizzes are great if you want to repel, or if you're very picky, like if there's a part in your certain niche that you just want to target. If you are targeting, let's just say, Fortune 500 companies, and you're very particular about the amount of money that they are making annually, then this could be a really good avenue. So you're like hyper niched. And then short video. So short video is like webinar-ish. Webinar-ish. But it's shorter. So the max that I tell my students is 30 minutes maximum. So I don't really tell them to like go beyond 30 minutes because then it's gonna start becoming a webinar. So short form video, not really short form like the reels, but it's a 30-minute video where you can give them a glimpse of something and then pitch them to the end. So if you love webinars, this is a really good option, like a shorter one, but 30 minutes, probably of a different content, different title. You have to vary your lead-ins, what I said, okay? Like, you can't just shorten the webinar that has worked for you. So have something else different. Maybe you could also include a worksheet on this because you're like, okay, like the 30 minutes is done. I wish I could spend more time with you, but you can also follow up what you have learned in this video with the worksheet, etc., etc. And then the last thing is social media hyping. This is what I do when I don't have much time to prepare for a lead-in. Okay, so let's say your launch is June 15, and let's say May and June I was so busy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mark June or May. Ooh, that is very okay. So I'm going to mark May 15, and if I know I don't have much time, what I'm going to do here is just post on social media for us as much as I can, right? And then start becoming so visible that people don't actually forget that I exist in this world. Okay, so that's what I do. Like, May 15 to June 15, I'm like, okay, I don't have time to create a PowerPoint presentation or even outline anything for a lead-in right now. I'm just going to do a social media hype. So like, sometimes I would go live every other day and like doing a question and answer portion like in my channels. Sometimes I do it every week, and then create social media posts. And with social media hyping, it's a lot easier because I actually have a myriad of content from the past few years. So I don't really need to trouble as to what to post to social media. I just don't really have the time, right? So I make sure that from May 15, June 15, you're not going to see anyone but me. Okay? So that's what social media hyping is. Like you are just super visible that people don't forget about you. And then once you start the dates start dropping like a week before your launch or 2 weeks before your launch, and you start teasing them into like, hey, I have a launch. This is what's going to happen. Da 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 da, etc. etc. I'm very excited for this very launch. If you're interested, this is what's going to happen. Like I'll be live on whatever. So social media hyping is like real time, interactive, being there. Sometimes I schedule some posts. Sometimes I always just, most of the time, I just go live just because I don't have time anymore. Right? So if you're super busy, social media hyping would be nice. Okay, so that's how you can make sure that your every launch is different so that people don't get bored and then you get their attention again. Okay? And then, of course, when all that's said and done, when you got people into your ecosystem and you have a lead gen system flowing like crazy, and at the same time, you have different lead ins, of course, just make sure that you're able to nurture people once they are in your ecosystem. Okay, so don't forget to interact with people. Social media hyping does that automatically, so great. Um, but yeah, don't forget to interact with people and ask them the right questions, get feedback, right? Automate your email sequences for Christ's sakes. Like, don't just rely on email broadcasts that you're going to be publishing every week. So have those email sequences. So for example, if you have a lead generation system going, the very first time they're going to get into your email list, of course you're going to have some sort of like email sequence. Even if you're not promoting anything, they should get in touch in all your social media channels. You tell them, hey, I'm actually on Instagram, or better yet, did you see this video that I posted on Instagram about this and this and this and this? I think it's going to help you, blah blah blah. That can be a really good content inside your nurture sequence in a few days after they have signed up rather into your ecosystem. So once you get all of these things settled, I don't think you're going to have audience exhaustion anymore. And this is one of the things that I keep seeing every day. So hopefully, do not exhaust your audience, have more audience, and at the same time, be amazing. Have different things. Don't be boring. Don't be vanilla. And that's what I'm talking about when you are doing your launch. So hopefully this has been helpful for you guys. I keep on yapping, but hopefully you are able to get a lot of things, or a lot of ideas on this very video. I look forward to teaching more of the things that I know about online education business in the next few weeks, and I'll see you in the next one.